Yeah, I saw that. So like I had to run upstairs and do something really quickly. So I did that. And then yeah, I forgot at that point, right? And I recorded for like another hour or so. Um yeah, yeah.
No problem. All right, so this is where we left things off last time. So, excuse me. Um, we had that vote where should it be Dow punks only, Dow punks plus nominations, a partnership based program, with like Kernel as an example, completely open or completely open with the promotion in Discord, or like limited promotion, I guess. Um, but obviously, I think we had some really important discussions about you know this is making it very clear that we can't offer the kernel, if you will. We can't offer that structured, like you'll learn these exact skills by going through a program type thing. So we went through that, but uh, it, where we left off though, I was a little confused if we were tied between like the Dow Punk plus nomination style or the open to everyone with limited promotion. Is that
No, we
really
weren't
where it
tied.
ended? Where because
No,
I
yeah,
thought we went for, yeah.
we ended it with everyone. Everyone's welcome.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
with like a kind of like a background emphasis though that like if we do get Dowpunk applicants that they'll get some sort of preferential view, maybe just some sort of advantage.
okay. That's right. Now I remember. Okay.
Yeah, it was
So,
basically with limited advertisements of like we're not going to go full ham on announcements. There'll be announcements in the Discord and maybe like a Twitter post or two, but nothing like bonkers. Correct.
And I think the main goal of that is we just again just want to try to reduce as much work as possible in this first round. Since we're already all kind of been working hard on this, let's try to keep it easy on ourselves and let's just see if we can bootstrap this, get some grants out, give it a shot, and not just kind of go crazy in the first round or two.
okay, cool. So yeah, I remember now we did end on that. Now the main thing was though, like with getting a Dow Punk, or how would you describe it though, Bush? Like you just have like you would put it as like a reference that you're also being like sponsored by a Dow Punk or something, or like recommended by a Dow Punk. Is that what you mean?
No, I would say like there should probably just be one question on the application that says, do you hold a Dowpunk? And if somebody says yes, then we should probably just look at the ones that do hold Dowpunks, just because these people helped bootstrap the original grant fund, and so we should definitely look at those. Um,
Oh, how about this? This might be a good middle ground. Um, so if we have that question, was do you have a Dow Punk? Um, what if, as far as limiting applications go, we say that we guarantee that the first 50 applications, or we could say first 30 or 40, it doesn't really matter, but the first 50 applications um, from Dow Punk holders themselves are guaranteed to get reviewed. Um, so even though we're keeping it open, we're saying you're guaranteed to be reviewed. Um, if we do get hundreds of applications, which I really don't think we will, if we're not like blowing up everywhere on Twitter or that kind of thing. But uh, what are your thoughts on that? Like just saying, hey, we're a limited staff. If you have a Dow Punk, you're guaranteed to be in the running
I
or
think
to
for
be
me, like,
reviewed.
I mean, I probably wouldn't publicly announce you're not going to review everything. And like, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but
Oh, good point.
I think as a practical point, like, we are going to review everything, and if we get hundreds, well, that's what we got to do. Like,
and sure, maybe you do them a little quicker, right? I just think you give a soft preference to Dowpunks, period.
Yeah,
Um,
like if you
you
had
know,
two applicants that were like on the edge and it's like they both were equally cool and awesome. If one of them's holding a Dowpunk, then to me that's the differentiator, you know?
right?
I
Exactly.
see. I get what you mean now. Like a soft. I okay. That makes more sense. I got you now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause like in the future, if we, you know, if we obviously want to continue this grant program, and I think we all do, we have to figure out a way to, we have to figure out some way to drive value back to the NFT, and then in some way for that value, that NFT to drive value back to the treasury. And so, you know, we'll figure all that stuff out. I don't think that's a problem right this second, but
Sure.
that might help it, you know.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Well, yeah, that makes sense to me. I think that's an easy fix. Just to add that extra question there. Um, Now, as far as the application itself, um, I guess when should we just declare that finished now? I mean, we've had multiple discussions about it. We've posted. I pinned the link to it for uh, questions or different suggestions. Are we ready to declare that done now, or is that? I know Mike goes on here, but
I mean, I don't want to hold it up too much, but I have not gave it a. I want to give it a final run through before we do that. Can we just why don't we announce in the channels and then probably not not an announcement, but just at least announce in the grant channels for the people with the grant tag that we're gonna finalize the questionnaire over the next week and then have it ready to go by this time next week.
cool. Yeah, I mean that's obviously a crucial piece.
But
The
I didn't realize it was in such a finished state. You got to remember. I mean, I missed a couple of these when I was in Seattle, and so
Oh no,
plus
that's all
one
right.
more. Yeah, no, no. So I'm a little bit behind the times. So my apologies. I'm just getting caught up. But well, that's not true. But I'm getting caught up on
Oh,
this apparently. I didn't realize you were so far ahead, right? And so, in your mind, is it finished? Have you looked at the suggestions in the comments and they've been incorporated, and the questionnaire from your perspective is good to go?
yeah, I mean there's a couple minor things that I might change, and but we've talked about it in the calls. I've talked about it with Maiko, and at the end of the day, that was his. He was championing that project, and uh, I'll ask him again, but I think we should, like you said, maybe put out one more, okay, final announcement. Hey guys, we're about to actually publish this. I know he was working on getting it integrated into our website, um, but I guess there were some issues with the webmaster or whoever it was. Do you know Bushi? Was he able to get in contact with him?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
It
'cause
looked like he was in contact with him on via the chat, but that was only what was public.
Okay. So for me, I see a view only file that I cannot edit or comment on.
in the pins.
It's pinned to the grant channel. Yeah. I do
So
see it. I mean, I see a ton of comments and red lines from Maiko and Themes and Live Faster on here as well. I mean, Lit It Up. It looks like maybe Joey Maggio did too. It looks like late part of February, early March. I'm looking at community feedback for grant application questions.
yeah, the Google Doc, right?
Yeah. So I
Yeah.
mean, I think to me looking at it though, there's a bunch of outstanding questions and red lines, and it's not okay. So I mean, there's questions about rewording questions, for example, and then leading questions. So okay, I would maybe, I mean, ideally, I don't know, Garrett, maybe you go through here and clean that part up, and then you announce it, and then we make more comments. I'm just worried, if there's 50 comments on a doc, it's going to be hard to kind of get it done. But if you have one person kind of going through it and making choices, maybe it won't be so hard. Or we can go through the questions now and go through the application now and resolve the outstanding questions and comments.
Well, let me put you this way: if you go to the tally form, which is the not published, quote unquote, but that's the actual working copy application, right? Where
Okay.
a lot of those things I believe were already modified and
Great.
and put in. So,
Awesome. So that Google Doc is an old doc, and everything I want
well,
to
that
look at is inside of Tally.
well, the Google Doc, because Tally doesn't have like any sort of editing, tracking, or that type of function. So
Understand.
essentially, we just put the questions on a Google Doc so that we could you know have people make suggestions, feedback, that kind of thing. But then
So, brother, I'm with you.
yeah,
I'm just wondering if the questions and the comments that are on the Google Doc have been incorporated into the Tally form.
yeah, I mean, just at first glance, like when I'm on the Tally, it says, who are you? What inspires you? When I look at the Google Doc, and that was based on a suggestion.
Yeah.
I'm going to go. Um, yeah,
Is there
so like
another
that
version?
on the Google Doc.
Is there like a
Okay.
finalized version of this doc somewhere? Do you know? I mean, is this like an old pin maybe?
Oh, you mean
The
oh,
Google
so
Doc?
you're saying collapse, all the discussions and edits we made, just clean it up and here say here's like the updated version, so it's like a clean slate, and then give say to people, hey, we're going to open this up for one more round of questions or comments. Is that what you mean?
I guess, yeah, two-parter though, right? Like, so one, is there, I guess, three questions. One, is there a version of this document that's pinned inside grants that is clean, that has had these suggestions, comments, etc., incorporated, and that thing's otherwise finalized? Because it's looking like what you're saying, and I can see looking at the Tally form and on the red lines on the Google Doc that like question one, right, says, "Who are you? What inspires you?" And I see that inspires you as part of a red line, right? Um, the
And we got rid
person,
of the archetype question. Yeah.
well, the archetype's actually in the Tally form though, so it's
Or
a
I
third
mean,
question.
sorry, I mean we didn't combine that into like one thing like it was originally written. So I guess you're right. There are still some like conflicting.
Well, I don't know because to me it looks like it's actually been more updated on the Tally, which makes me think that there's like another version of this doc somewhere that has the red lines accepted or rejected. I just don't know. It just
No,
looks like that
let
because
me
the
put it
Tally
this
has
way.
red line language on it. It's not a big
Right.
deal.
Let me put it this way. It was when Maiko and Live Fast and the other meetings where we were using the Google Doc, but then during the actual grants like meetings like we're in now, he was making adjustments to the Tally, I believe. So it
Okay.
wasn't like recorded edits or like approved changes on the doc. He was just editing the Tally. So I guess yeah, now it does look messy because we don't have like a necessary like a one-to-one trail of how we got here.
So good. I just want to know what to look at. It looks to me like the Tally form was updated, that these red lines have more or less been accepted and incorporated into the survey, so like into the application. So I mean, my point is now, if we're happy with what the application says in Tally, then maybe we don't need to do a week review period.
Yeah, that's essentially what I was saying. Like based on the Tally, unless you guys think this isn't ready to just open, I think it looks good to me. I mean, I think we went through the questions multiple meetings. We used the Google Doc and discussed those, with themes and myself. Like we discussed those. He edited the Tally to try to reflect the consensus, and I think the Tally is fully updated to this point.
Yeah,
Um,
I think you're right. Copy edits. Who has access to this form? Who's got the keys to Tally? Maiko?
uh, I believe me, Maiko, Stubbs, and let me check on that. 'Cause I have it written down.
Oh, good. That's all I need. I'm just wondering who's got it.
I mean, I think I control the I'm paying for it, so
I
I
just
don't
want
think.
to.
Yeah, you have the account too, right? Okay.
I just
Yeah,
think
my
some of the
master account.
cool. I just think some of the language, I mean, there's some copywriting errors, and maybe we should get that stuff cleaned up before it ships. But maybe there's enough non-consensus around certain things like livelihood with a hyphen in it, which is really one word, but I do see it too sometimes. Maybe that stuff doesn't matter. Maybe that's just the editor in me that gets anal on stuff. So maybe it's good. Let's take a look. I'm just gonna go through it. CB, have you gone through this already?
No, I need to.
Okay. How do you want to proceed,
All right,
CB?
Well then, yeah, we could just go through it now then. It works
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah, let's do it right now.
Can you drop me a link so I can, or some way I can get in here so I can edit as we go?
Yeah, so I'm just gotta get to my laptop here. 1 sec. Sorry, I'm on my phone. My son's in this room. He can just start yelling wildly. So 1 second
Yeah.
here.
Okay, but hasta ratito te marco.
Okay.
Love you. Bye, Appa, love you.
That did not work.
Well, here. You know what? It's okay. I'll just
Hmm.
I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just make some. I can make some edits on it later. Let's not let me not hold us up, and I'll just make a note. I don't know. I mean, it does need to be edited a bit if you guys don't mind.
No, not at all.
Okay.
It's gotta be. I know he sent it to us.
It's all right. Just hit it to me at some point. I'll do it over the weekend. Like, no big deal. Like truly, let's just pound through these things so that we get through them all.
Okay. You want me to share the screen then?
Either way.
All right. Let me get this up.
Thank you, sir.
And now screen share. Oh, can you guys see my screen? Sorry, I was muted.
Yeah, you're good.
You're good.
So, the first round of grants, called Cohort Zero, Dow punks are awarding 1 ether to each of a fortunate few who are ready to make the transition to full-time Dow work play. Want to help folks who are ready to make the transition in need of a little funding to bridge the gap between their current form of income and their new livelihood. I see what you mean. Yeah, I would definitely take that out.
There's a few, but yeah, it's all good.
In the Dow sphere, the ideal candidate would be inspired to share publicly about their journey along the way, to actively participate in the Dow Punks distributed mentorship program, Beta. Sound like you?
That all gets taken out. Like slow down real quick though. I mean, like that gets taken out too. I'll just edit that thing and shoot it back. But like, because there's no distributed mentorship program anymore either.
Oh, right. Yeah, because of our last discussion.
Yeah, it's all good. I'll shoot you a file. I'll shoot you another draft.
Okay. So who are you? What inspires you? That one's pretty straightforward, right? We want to keep it open-ended.
Sure.
Okay. Something you're personally proud of. Now, for any of the Dowpunk archetypes, would you prefer if there was like a? Oh no, here it is. There, it's like in the ghost text here, like has our Dowpunk archetypes.
That's cool.
What's a Dow to you? Well, that like for me, that wording is a little iffy.
Yeah. A little bit.
Is that something you would change? Like, how would you define a Dow, for example?
I would just say, what's a DAO? I would just get rid of 2U.
Fair enough. Let's see.
Maybe because what's the question what's the answer you're looking for? Just the literal definition of what it is? It's just because it's just an acronym and people are just going to put that. You want to ask what is a DAO and what do you make of them?
Well, so here's my thought, is that it's a question that can elicit all kinds of responses too. a decentralized autonomous organization to a long description of what a DAO is, right? And like what I think that question will elicit if you leave it open-ended like that is it'll differentiate who has read about DAOs and who has participated in DAOs. I mean, because if I were asked that question 8 months ago, I would not have been able to, I would have bullshitted an answer or said something stupid like it's a decentralized autonomous organization. I shouldn't say stupid, but like
Simplistic.
Yeah. But yeah. Whereas now, I mean, it would be, I mean, you could write on that for days, right? And so, so I think that just tells you a lot of things if you leave it like that.
Just if you leave it as what's a DAO to you, or you leave it as what's a DAO.
What's a DAO?
All right. I think we're literally just going to get a bunch of people because people are very simplistic and simple minded. They're just going to write decentralized autonomous organization and move on to the next question. But
maybe you're right. What do you is that shared sentiment? I mean, you very well could be correct. I could be dead wrong about all that.
Well, I mean, if that is what happens, I mean, I think we will. It'll be a minority of people that expand and give us like a longer definition, but maybe it's an opportunity. I don't know.
Yeah, let's delete it. But I don't think you're gonna get I genuinely don't think that the people are gonna expand on it. I think it's gonna be like they're just gonna write the spelled out version of it, and then they'll move on. Because if you change it, what's a DAO? Everyone seems to have a different idea. I think it's. I don't. It's if you would like to change it. But I just think that like people are gonna write the actual.
Take it literally.
They're literally gonna just write that. Like they're gonna write it out.
Fair. I mean, we can leave it if it's a concern. I'm all good with that. Like no worries.
Yeah.
You could always just change it from what's a DAO to what's a decentralized autonomous organization. Then you're like,
then they write it's a DAO.
It's a DAO.
yeah.
But you're right, CB.
Without fail, people will always resort to the easiest answer that they can think of when they get a question. I think like that's why what was it like the Microsoft motto is you give the laziest person the most difficult task because they will find
I don't know if I agree when it comes to applications for money, though. Like, I think people would take this as an opportunity to expand where they can. I mean, they're not trying to get through a test or a multiple choice task, right? I mean, they're here voluntarily, trying to get some funding to do something they want to do. And so I think just by a self-selective criteria, like, you're not going to write decentralized autonomous organization as an answer. I could very well be wrong. Like, I don't know. But it's interesting that we have very different perspectives on what that question would do. I think that if you leave it as what's a DAO to you, it probably eliminates that problem, right? As what you're saying, live fast, and that's cool. Like, you're not the only person who thinks like you, so that makes sense to keep it open-ended.
I don't know. Change it. See what happens. See if the person who joins it, who writes up this application, just does it just for poops and giggles, if nothing else. Just to see if the person who's doing it will actually do it, because I don't know.
Well, I'm not attempting to make a sociological experiment. I just want good answers to questions. So let's not beat this thing to death anymore. What do you guys want to do? Again, I mean, I don't really care. Like in the end, right?
I'm in your camp. I think people will take every question as an opportunity to flex, a deeper understanding of a concept. Not necessarily flex, but you know what I mean. I would take an opportunity to elaborate if I am trying to compete with other people in the crypto space. I'd say, I would give a more elaborate answer about what a DAO means to me and how it could possibly change, the whole landscape, or that type of answer is how I would personally answer that. But that not every question has to be, super elaborate. That's the whole point of having all these different questions on the application. Like, see which ones people focus on, which ones are important to them, and I think that's how we're evaluating. So I say, leave it as it is. But
would that be leave it? Does that become what's a DAO or what's a DAO to you? What is the final take on that one?
I think both get the same answers. Let me put it that way. So
Okay, we'll leave it how it is. It's fine. Like whatever. We've already overthought it.
I know maybe I'm just overthinking it at this point.
Well, me too. I mean, I'm prone to that. It's a disease, dude. So it's cool. Let's move on.
All right. Have you participated in any DAOs?
Yeah, I mean, maybe get an if so, which ones? But again, I mean, now Live Fast has me paranoid about making sure you ask good questions to elicit good answers, right?
That's true. That's definitely true.
I think this solves it because in the faded text it says tell us about your experience.
Right. Those faded tags are cool. Okay, what do we got next here?
How soon would you like to make DAO work your primary source of income? When do you want to quit your job? So maybe we should modify this one too then based on our discussion.
Yep.
Reading super emphasizing that. I mean,
totally.
Because it's already in like the explain, that preview page before you get to the application that explains what we're looking for, what our expectations are. I think if you're this far, you don't have to say, "Oh, I'm going to quit my job on this date." I don't know. What do you think, Hero?
I'd leave it in.
All right.
I also think it's unlikely that people are going to quit their jobs based on 1 ETH, right? So, I don't think a precondition of applying for the grant is that you quit your work. It's part of it's a transition, right? So what if you work part-time, right? And you continue to do that while you go to work in DAOs? People would be crazy, dude, to quit their, if they had like obligations and bills that were due monthly on a nut, and then they're just going to quit and get 1 ETH and then make the jump. With no other backup. Maybe. I'm curious about the answer to the question, though. I'd probably leave it in.
Actually, I do like the wording, though. How soon would you like to make it your primary source?
Yeah.
Versus, when are you quitting? It's like, how soon would you like to?
Yeah, I think it's nice. Part of me is like enlarge the time frame a bit, but I understand like it's the run of theoretically how long it should run for, like we talked about. So, but also like that 6 month or that 6 week time frame is based upon the mentorship that we're not doing anymore as well, right? So
true.
So you could widen that language, from like 0 to 3, 3 to 6, 6+ or something.
Okay. Live Fast. Are you taking meeting notes again?
Yeah, you want me to just take that notes of just like widening the ASAP to
Yeah,
include
the time frame, or yeah.
Just can you just repeat the time frame one more time?
Well, as it is now, it says ASAP, less than 6 weeks, more than 6 weeks. I already did. But Hero, were you thinking?
I'd just make it wider, like 3 months and 6, less than 3 months, less than 6 months. Already did ASAP. Those are fine. I actually think ASAP and less than 3 months are kind of the same thing, but I understand not really.
Yeah, no, it is a little redundant. All right. Well, I'll move on for now, unless you wanted to dig into it. No? Okay. So how would this grant empower you to contribute in the DAO sphere? So this is the meat and potatoes question, right? Do you have a plan? How long? Okay. Do you have a plan for how you will sustain your DAO punk lifestyle once you've used up the grant funding? And how much time do you think you'll need to start generating a full livelihood working in the DAO sphere? And there's also the invitation in the ghost text here that, come to our Discord. We could talk about it.
A couple thoughts. Like one, are we going to use that faded language even though we're not doing a mentorship program? I'm actually personally like, okay, if they do, that's fine. But it's a question maybe to think about. And in some ways, we should encourage people to come to the server, right, and hang out a little bit. It's tough. Yeah, no, I have no problem with the question. Like, it's good. I'm just thinking it's a tough time to talk about generating a full livelihood in DAOs during the bear market, right? So I don't know. if that wording creates a false expectation of what we expect, you know, or do we need to clarify what we do expect, right? I mean, like, do we expect, you know, people applying for this grant to have a clear roadmap to how they're going to have sustainable income in DAOs? Because I don't know, you know, unless you work for a centralized DAO or a Web3 company, like there are not a lot of DAOs that pay in stable coins yet, you know?
I think it's a great question. Even like notwithstanding mentorship or anything, it is a great peek into the person itself. I think
For sure.
I think if anything, they'll just resort to just saying no or giving you a great glimpse into their understanding and in their mind for why they're applying and through this.
Oh, totally. I like the question too. I'm just thinking about it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's setting expectations. I think it's even saying specifically, what are you going to do once the grant runs out? Like, are you even thinking long term here? Because if you're
Totally.
depending on us, you're not going to be happy, sort of thing. You know?
Yeah.
I also just to say this in the back of our minds, like it's okay if we get these questions like not right, or if like we realize that like these questions don't work, because like we don't know. We're basically making a bunch of assumptions on trying to figure out what questions we want, what do we want to see, and what our answers are. We'll learn more about these questions after we already have a sample of data to go back and be like, okay, we should do this better. So just something to consider about.
For sure.
Yeah, that's my feeling too. So good to go.
Hey guys, I fucked
Mike.
up
What's
my
up,
time
Michael?
zones. I fucked up my time zones again.
It's okay,
Hey,
pal.
all good.
Nice to see you.
I still have a half an hour to prepare a little bit before the meeting. I'm like, gonna check things out a little bit. I'm like, oh, everybody's in the server right now. Uh-oh.
Yep, been there.
Anyway, this is one of the questions that I would harden up a little bit based on our last meeting. Like the language is a little bit kind of like, do you have a plan, you know, for how you're going to sustain your DAO punk lifestyle? And we would kind of consider that a little bit, but at this point, it seems like you have to have a plan. And this is like a very important question. Like I might choose to make it a little more clear that we expect them to have a plan, and that's like a kind of a prerequisite for qualification. What do you guys think?
That's the point of the, once people apply and we see that they barely even answered this question. I mean, that's an easy way for, if I'm trying to filter the data, that's an easy way for me to say, well, this person's probably not what we're looking for, right?
Yeah, so just leaving it kind of soft and
yeah, because if
being
I
like
was someone
appropriate.
who's put a lot of thought into this, who I do, I've obviously most people who I assume are going to get this grant. This isn't like day one in DAO space. They've been planning this out. They've been like, for me, I've been trying to adjust I have already, drastically adjusted like my corporate life to try to make room for, the DAO space to, make priorities, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to have a plan laid out here. That's my thought. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe we should just put in there like, well, I guess we don't have to, because if they are enrolled in any programs, like that's what they would put in there. But that's what we're looking for, right? Is like they're enrolled in some kind of program, some kind of like kernel, so forth.
Yeah,
But
that's not, aside from this, I don't think is there a question that says like, you have the, what's your experience in DAOs? Tell us about the experience you have performing the skills. I mean, should we just ask a question about, have you enrolled in any crypto programs before? Like, i.e. kernel or, any of that? Should we ask that directly?
Yeah, I think based upon our last conversation that we should, I mean, you could say like crypto accelerator program or something, right?
Yeah, even something as simple as like crypto zombies, do you have any certifications like that? Like, oh, I completed this course or I did this. I'm fine with it, asking that explicitly.
For sure.
yeah, I mean, I think one of the great uses for this grant could be somebody who wants to enroll in a program, but the program costs money, or they need to cover some living expenses while they do the program. So they haven't enrolled yet because they don't know if they're going to be able to fund it, but this grant would help them fund it. I don't know if that's relevant to the specific questions that we're asking, but perhaps in the outreach stage, that would be something that we make clear. Like, we are targeting people who, want to use this grant to go through like training programs, such as Kernel, something like that.
Yeah, I guess that's where you get pretty specific, though. Like if you're asking, because we are asking what would you use the grant for? So they have an opportunity. Where is that? How would this grant empower you to contribute? Um, so meaning like it. Let's say you're applying, and let's use your person as an example. They're on this application. They get to this question. Um, how would this grant empower me? Well, it would allow me to take this course and then start working in, for this DAO or for this, this company needs people, or they hire people directly from this course, and I want to take it. So if you with this grant, I would take that, go through the course, and then blah blah blah. Right? Is that how you would answer it if you're that person?
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I think maybe most of this would be in the explainer page, that to just say like, we'd love for this grant to be able to help people, sign up for training programs or whatever, and it wouldn't need to be on the questions, but perhaps in the outreach phase.
I see what you mean.
I have a circle back. I think Hero's trying to talk, or if he's waiting on somebody, or is it, you want to go first, Hero?
No, I'm not trying to talk. Actually, I'm
Oh,
good.
okay. For your comment about, do you have any certifications or you've taken any courses in crypto? You could put that right next to, or in the shadow of, have you participated in any DAOs? To just say, tell us, either right there, maybe in black, to just say, have you
Oh,
participated in any DAOs? Do you have any certifications, or have you taken any courses in crypto? And just put it right there. Give them, like, that would be the best place to put it.
it's all part of your prior experience, basically prior
Yeah.
relevant experience. That is this question, right?
Yeah, maybe lead them. Maybe much like how Bushi wants to explicitly know if you have done that. Uh, maybe put that in there. Because I mean, maybe I'm ignorant, but having a certification or taking any courses in crypto may not be the same thing as participating in a DAO. You know?
Well, that was my thought. Even as far as like handling the data too and sorting the data, that I would like it as a separate question,
Okay,
because that's a
then
simple one word answer, sort of thing where it's just like, okay, I did this course, or I
okay,
did.
fair.
Or you can always do this, like, what do you I mean? A question that's even more open ended would be like, what are your Web3 credentials?
Maybe make then I would probably recommend putting it underneath, have you participated in any DAOs, so that way it has that flow of like that mentality of going from there. Um,
Yeah, I mean, if I were in charge of the world, I'd actually would put it before, because it's a wider scope question than have you
okay,
participated in DAOs.
cool. And then I also had another suggestion about determining if you actually own a DAO punk. If you go to the first page, right, I believe that question should be right before, do you identify with any of it? Ask first, do you own a DAO punk? And then the next question should be, do you identify with any of the DAO punk archetypes? I think that's where that should go.
I agree.
Yeah, works for me. Mike,
I wonder if
any?
there's a more
Yeah.
discreet way to to determine whether they have a DAO punk. Like, we're getting their Discord handle, and they might have. I guess some people haven't done the Collabland thing, but we could automate that question by just looking up their Discord handle and seeing if they own a DAO punk.
Well, if
That
they
way.
lie,
Are you
then that-
concerned, Maiko, that people? I mean, are you concerned with the perception that we're favoring DAO punks? I mean, is there any problem with favoring DAO punks in a soft way?
Yeah, I guess I don't want to sway the direction that we're already going. It would add any friction to what people are already feeling. But I'll just what's the word? Pass. I'll just
Well, no,
pass.
like for real though, like I don't think that there's any direction is kind of my point. Like we talked before you got here about giving soft preference, like all things being equal, you give it to the DAO punk holder, right? We didn't talk about the question of whether we have an issue with advertising that, which is essentially kind of what you're doing in an implied way when you put the question on the application. So I think that it's a fair question and a fair thought.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah,
it's
I
the
guess it's
verifiability. Can you
the sense
verify it
of
with just a yes or no?
that'd be an issue too, is you can just say yes. But also the advertising, I don't know, it's like at the same time you want to be transparent. If it's true that we are preferencing DAO punks, then you don't want to make it look like you're not.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's what I mean. Does anybody have an issue with transparently, sort of publicly preferring DAO punks, or is that just
We
bad optics?
should. Yeah, I think we should. I mean,
I do too.
that's where all the money came from. So it's like
Celebrate this shit
I don't
is
see
my
why
thought.
anybody could have anything bad to say about that. And if they do, it's like, well, it's the money came from them. So I don't
Sorry,
know.
it's our
Go
money.
buy a
Yeah.
DAO punk, right? I mean, like that's about driving economic value back to the NFT again.
Yeah, I'm not against it, and I don't think that there's any moral issues or ethical issues or anything whatsoever. But I think it kind of is what makes the difference between a public good project and like an NFT lottery, sort of game community that you just like. Yeah, if you have one of these things, then you might get we pool the money, and then you might be one of the persons who gets a chunk of it.
Fair.
Kind of
Fair.
a
Yeah. I like that.
which is fine. I like, it's fun to gamify things and and all that. And
You raise a
we
great point,
never
though, because
we never were like it doesn't seem like the community philosophy was dead set on being a public good in the first place. So I don't
actually, I don't know, dude. Maybe if we read that launch article, there actually might be a reference to public goods. I should know. I spent a lot of time editing it. It's been a while, dude. But I
Yeah,
think that there might be a reference to it, right, CB?
yeah. I mean, we did use those words. Yeah. So I agree with what you're saying. I mean, maybe we just have a question that just says, "Do you have a DAO punk?" And let's just have it as a trust question. And then what happens is once you get down to the final like ones and you're like about to pull the trigger, maybe just maybe we just have like one final due diligence check, really on other stuff as well. And then at that point you can verify. And if they lied, then maybe that's an
if
indicator
you
of
lie, you have more. We have more problems. Like we have other concerns. But if it's just a metric for anybody for their. It's just a metric for you guys is to vote. Like you guys say that like you'll give preference to DAO punks. I give zero. Like I have no bias. I'm going to review every application on its own merits. If you own a DAO punk or if you don't, I mean, that's everybody will bring their own biases to it.
So maybe, I mean, what if it was like the screening committee and the finalist selection process has no consideration, but once we pick our finalists, we ask them for their public address, and we use that to confirm whether they're holding a DAO punk. And then when the community is voting on the applications, we can put their DAO punk next to their application, and it doesn't necessarily have to say anything more than the fact that like there's a DAO punk on their application and that's the one that they own, because we verified that through their public address.
Well, then you're going to have but I don't hold it in my public address. It's somewhere else, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think if we want to give preference to DAO punks, then we put the question, and if we want to give preference to DAO punks, then we put the question, and if we don't, we don't. And we're gonna.
Yeah.
I mean, and you can also like have them come to the server, and that would probably tell you a lot. Although again, like not everybody verifies. I'm kind of like motivated a little bit by what you said, Maiko, about what does it mean to be a public good, right? And if you gate it,
Yeah. Well,
are you
it's
really a public good?
yeah.
And it's not
Uh,
gated per se, I mean, like, it's not, right? I mean, just like projects that have more, like think about Gitcoin 13 about to conclude, right? And certain projects that have more breadth, right, tend to get funded more than like really obscure niche projects, right? I mean, does that make those not public goods? Like I don't know. So it's an interesting philosophical question. Can you give a preference in a public good grant? I mean, I think
yeah.
so,
Well,
but I'm also
it's
aware
interesting
that
because I mean it's non-excludable and non-rivalrous, and if it's token gated and there's a limited supply, it's both excludable and rivalrous. So
totally.
it's like technically, like the grant itself is not a public good, but the grant program is a public good because we are adding talent to the DAO sphere, and that's the fundamental like public good that we're offering. Maybe
Yeah.
the grant itself is excludable and rivalrous, but the service that we are offering the DAO sphere, which is to bring talent to the space, that's the public good. I don't know. I don't want to get too far into the weeds because I know we're trying to just get this, get this thing going.
I have I don't. Let me. I just have a few thoughts real quick. One, I think we're spending way too much on this time on this question. I think this question is just a general question. It means nothing. But two, if you think about it, take a page from CB's book. If people are going to use that question to think too hard about it to see whether or not we're providing preference to it, we are building back value to our NFT, which kind of is good. But I think I think it literally is just a question. As we announce this, we are announcing it that it's generally open, which kind of supersedes that question in itself, and it just becomes a question of whether or not you own it, or. Otherwise, we're not. I think it's just a question. I think we're overthinking it.
Yeah. I mean, I was happy with just advertising the grants through the Discord server, and that would be the thing that determines whether you're a part of the community already, is that you saw it in the server, and that's why you're applying for the grant. But that's where I stand, and I don't oppose adding the question. So I'll stand down.
Mhm. I'm kind of at a loss. I, hmm.
You
All
guys
right.
want you guys want to take a vote on it?
Mm,
Are we talking about this question of do you have a DAO punk or not?
Yeah.
I think if anything, I mean it's good. It's good to know just to see how many people are applying from the DAO punks.
yeah. Man, I don't know. I'm struggling. I can't.
Just what you know what?
Uh,
Add it, and just see. Let's just see what happens. If worst case, like we said, this is going to be will be a learning experience for all of us. If it proves problematic, we'll remove it the next time. And plus, like
yeah.
anybody who's going to take this serious, anybody who's going to take this application process seriously would most likely try to listen to these conversations. Will probably watch these videos and see us discussing this, and at which point they'll just be like, "Oh, cool." So, eh.
Yeah, I'm fine with Addy. I'm like, let me put it that way. So
Yeah,
I'll just
maybe
throw it
at
in.
least having some way to verify. Like we could say post or like a link to your DAO punk on OpenSea, something like that. If it's just a yes or no question, it's just like it doesn't really offer us any information because we have no way of knowing whether they're being honest or not. You could say like which DAO punk do you hold if you hold one, or if
Yeah, I
you
was
hold a
thinking.
DAO punk, post a link to your OpenSea or something like that.
That's cool.
Yeah, it works for me. Any objections to that, Hero?
No.
Cool. That
Yeah,
works for me.
I'm just more interested to see who applies to be honest, from Dowpunks. Because
Yeah.
honestly, if you can hold a Dowpunk through, at like the floor is like 0.5 or something, all the way down to like 0.1 right now, and you were the whole time you're wanting to apply for the grant, then I think we should we should look at those people and just case by case kind of see.
Yeah, makes sense to me. So, all right, cool. Because we're running short on time here. Was this just about this list here? I think that's pretty exhaustive. Do you think it's too big? Do you think it's? I think it's fine the way it is. Give people lots of options. Hero, thoughts on this one?
No. Sounds good.
All right, cool. This is one I was personally. What do you want to learn? I I was a little confused by what we're trying to gain from this question, I guess. Um, do we? What do we want to know? Like, I want to learn more about DAOs, or I want to learn a specific code, language or something, or I want to learn Solidity. Like, what do we want to gain from this question that they haven't already answered in previous questions?
That
I think it's a strange.
question, you're talking about what do you want to learn?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was more gauged toward our idea of having some sort of mentorship program, so we know like who to hook them up with. But we're not doing that anymore, so
Oh.
we can just delete that question.
Oh. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Are you editing the form right now, or should I do that?
No, I wanted to get the credentials from you, or actually, I might have the credentials, and CB
Okay.
might, but we didn't have them, so we're just talking
Okay.
about it.
I'm editing the Gitbook page that the questions are on, so at least we have our changes.
So, Michael,
Oh.
I revised, Michael, the intro a little bit based
Okay,
upon our
cool.
last conversation and cleaned up a little bit of grammar. So I'm dropping that right now in the chat.
Okay, I'll copy that in there.
I just tagged you. So look it over, guys. I just
Sweet.
changed it a little. I just changed a little bit, got rid of the mentoring stuff, and then just
Yeah,
edited it.
sweet. Okay, I just made that change in the Gitbook, and then I'll migrate the Gitbook changes over to the form.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, okay, cool.
All right, tell us about some of the experience you have performing the skills you've shared above. Yeah, I think that maybe this is actually where so I know back on the first page, right, we were saying, oh, we should have like a certifications question or something. Maybe this is where we should put that. Tell us if you have any, experience or certifications, from these topics or from these. I don't know. What do you think? Put it back at the beginning, or?
Yeah, I think I might leave those where they are, and then put the what's your Web3 experience or whatever above the DAO question.
Cool. And then after that, that's just we talk about next steps for the grant. You've given your own personal channel. You can seek guidance, help you out along your journey.
Let me edit that real quick too. I don't think we're doing that anymore either.
The channel?
Not based upon the last conversation, if I recall it correctly. Did I misunderstand that?
Yeah, I think possibly because I thought we went full circle on that and said it can't hurt
I
as long as they
agree.
don't.
Actually, I think they should have their own channel. I just thought we decided otherwise. I'm totally cool with it.
No, it was just about setting the expectation. There's not going to be mentors in there making sure they help you with your problems.
Cool.
But it's still, I think, a great way to engage with your, quote unquote community within the DAO.
I agree, 1000%.
post your progress, post whatever it is. I mean, you have your own little space. I thought we landed on that.
Cool.
Damn it, Brave. Okay. Let's see. First half of the grant will be provided with grantees up front. Second half will be distributed. So are we? I guess that was my question though. Are we against the coordinate thing now? Was that ruled as like too complicated? Because I feel confident that I can definitely make that work.
No,
What
the
do you guys think about
coordinate worked. It just,
Yeah, like
the only thing was that like there's a subliminal indicator of like who's got the votes, like who's in the lead.
right, but that was like a separate. I was
Yeah,
proposing to use it as like a filtering process for the applications, but I'm talking about actually the original intended purpose, which was to use coordinate to say, to change the fund distribution for the second half of the grant.
As far as I know, we still were doing that. I don't, and that's what the framework says.
Yeah, that I just wanted to double check on that.
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought there
sorry.
might have been some pushback.
I'm good with that.
All right. AOL. All right, so we got email, Discord, links. Oh yeah, that's why I had that.
Do we need to really explain like the implications of the coordinate round? Like, it might not be obvious that the way that it's laid out in the grants proposal is that you might get an outsized portion of the second half if you do well and other people don't do as well. It's not necessarily just going to say, if you rug us, we're not going to give you the second half at all. It's kind of saying like, if you underperform, you might get some, but you get less, and the other people will get more. And that's kind of how the coordinate round is described in the grants proposal. Like, do we need to make that clear to people so that expectations are clear, like up front? Like maybe that would be in the explainer. It's a little complicated.
It is complex. I agree. I mean, could we link the grant proposal in this document? I mean, in this form? Maybe have them like a review. Have you reviewed
Yeah, but that's really complicated. If they look through that, they'd be like, "What the fuck?"
Fair.
Because it's just like it's a really technical document, I think, and like it's great. It's a great document for as a proposal, but it's not super friendly as far as it's not being like very approachable. I mean, I think we should link to it just for fun, but I don't think we should really expect applicants to have read it. It'd be like the terms of service button, like nobody's gonna read it.
Totally. Those wrapper or whatever they call those adhesion contracts. Like, yeah, that's fine. I mean, link it then. What is the explainer going to look like?
Well, Stubbs was working on that. I don't know how much progress he's made, but he signed up for it, and the explainer is meant to just be like the link to the application the front page would be the explainer, and that would just have all the essential information about the grants program that you need to know.
I'll find that too to see where Stubbs left off on it, because I was telling Hero earlier, Stubbs has been kind of AWOL lately. Have
Yeah,
you heard from him, Maiko? Yeah.
there was, so yeah, I mean, I guess there was like early on,
I said a few weeks ago he messaged us, and yeah.
But when we first started as the grants like champions, like he kind of disappeared, and then we checked in and he apologized and like, wanted to catch up. At a certain point, he sort of wanted to like forfeit his portion because he recognized that he wasn't able to keep up with the workload. And then he, but then he did like definitely contribute, a good amount. But yeah, now he's been gone for a little while again. So that's just that via some personal messages and stuff. So I don't know, we'll have to ask him how he's feeling and stuff, but I know he's got a lot on his plate and all that.
Yeah.
I will find that though. See where where he left off on it, because I want to get that. It was pretty much just a simplified version of the grants, whatever you call it. The ratified grants framework. Yeah, it was just like a simplified version of that, if I remember. But
But
I
Gabe's
can't find
towards
the actual
applicants
copy.
and
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think some of the content that he wrote in the Git book can basically be condensed into an explainer. So
Um,
Well, let's
Yeah.
bookmark that for a sec. Are you guys all available tomorrow as well?
yes.
Let's just pick this thing back up tomorrow.
Right, so yeah, he had it as he was going to use Gitbook. Oh, and Notion. Okay, I'll find those guys. But yeah, we'll definitely pick up tomorrow. Maiko, also, if you could help me find the Tally credentials again. I forget how. I need to get all the credentials for various,
Okay. I
logins and things.
probably sent you that in our little DM between me, you, and Stubbs.
Okay, well, I'll find that as well.
Let me see. I'll just resend it to you though.
Cool. Well, I will stop the stream.
I'll stop audio.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, and talk to you tomorrow afternoon.
All right, guys, take it easy.
Thanks,
All
guys.
right.
You too, Lucian.
See ya.
Uh-oh, Craig is still going.
He just said that he was going to stop recording.
I know.